We are about to make my mom's breakfast quiche casserole. You know, I've always loved this quiche because it's basically a dump and bake. Is that even a thing? I'm not really sure, but basically you just dump things into a pie crust and you bake it, and you've got this ridiculously high protein, yummy, meal prep friendly and family friendly dish. So I'm super psyched to share this with you today. I am actually going to leave the entire recipe below the original recipe, which is my mom's recipe. I have tweaked just a couple of things, added a little bit more sausage, and I've changed the milk in it to be a little more high protein. And guess how many grams of protein one serving has? 42. 42. 42. I don't know if this is going to be backwards or not, but 42. 42! So 42 grams of protein, and there are 4 servings per pie, and I think it is the easiest way to start your day off right and to feel great. So let's go ahead and bake. Now we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And then I like this Marie Callender's deep dish crust. You can use any crust. I've used non-deep dish crust if I use my mom's recipe as is, or if I don't put in extra meat. But today we're about the deep dish. So this crust is actually super delicious. And the first layer we're gonna lay down is 1 cup of shredded mozzarella. I like to use the part Skim. It's got tons of protein. And this particular bag of mozzarella is actually a 2-cup bag. So super easy, just put half the bag in there. It's not rocket science, people. So as you're putting the shredded mozzarella into the pie crust, just make sure that you get all the clumps out. You know, use your fingers and separate them so you don't get clumps of gloopity gloppity cheese. Although cheese is delicious and we love us some cheese, you want it to be evenly spread out so that all the goodness is in every single bite. Okay, second step. I'm using these turkey breakfast sausage links by Butterball. I've also used the Jimmy Dean ones. I've also used the Applegate ones. Use whatever you want. My mom actually likes to use the Jimmy Dean's turkey sausage crumbles. So they're already crumbled up and you don't have to cut them, but you know what? It's not that deep. Most packages come with 12 links, and you can either use 6 if you don't like things meat heavy, but if you know anything about me, I like me some meat, I love me some protein, and I'm going to use all 12. Now, I don't use a knife. I like to use kitchen shears to cut up my meat because it's cleaner, it's easier, you don't need a cutting board, it's more direct. I mean, have you guys ever been to a Korean barbecue place or been to a Chinese hot pot plate? Do you notice that the servers always use scissors? Why? Because it's efficient. Work smarter, not harder. So here we see this is what the quiche looks like with 6 links of sausage, but for me, I'm like, no ma'am, no ma'am. This does not cover the whole area, so let's go for more. So I cut up the other 6 links, which is, you know, gives you just more protein, but it's the whole package. And here I am snippeting the meat away. But this is what it looks like to have 12 sausage links. 1, 2, 12. There we go. And just make sure they're spread evenly. Isn't that beautiful? That's a whole bunch of protein and a whole bunch of love. So we're excited about this. Now, the very next step, this is totally optional, but I love onions. Love them, love them, love them. And I hate chopping them because they make me cry. And who wants to cry? So I always keep chopped onions frozen. So I use about half a bag, and you'll see me putting half a bag. You don't have to warm them up. You don't have to microwave them. You don't have to steam them, nothing. You put them in completely frozen, half a bag. So that's probably like, I don't know, maybe it's between 1/2 and 3/4 of a cup, and I just smush them around so that they cover every single inch of that pie crust. But here we go. This is ranch seasoning blend from Trader Joe's. Now, what I love about this recipe is that you only have to use 1 spice blend. Whatever your favorite one is, whether it's ranch, whether it's chipotle, whether it's southwestern taco. My mom actually likes to use the Tony Cachere. I don't know how to pronounce it because I'm not Creole, but you know that Creole seasoning, Tony Cachere. She uses that and that's it. I happen to be out of it today, so I'm using ranch, but you can use whatever seasoning blend you want. This one has all of my favorites in it already, so just season with your heart, season with your heart. Now we're going to put that second layer of mozzarella cheese down. So just do what you did the first time. Just crumble it up. See all those little clumps and bumps it gets? Just make sure that you crumble it up with your fingers. You use the rest of the bag if you have a 2-cup bag. If not, measure. Measure either with your eyeballs or with a measuring cup. And that way we make sure we have even layers of cheese and then meat and then cheese. It does make a difference. You don't want to just plop everything down. You want to have a little bit of rhyme or reason to it. So just make sure you cover the pie and you cover until the edges. And yeah, that way it'll melt perfectly and you'll be super duper happy. And you can also use vegan cheese if you are lactose intolerant. Okay. I use this 2-cup measuring cup, liquid measuring cup for the liquid stuff. And the first thing we're going to put in are 4 eggs. I like to use organic eggs. I like to use, what are they called? Cage-free and free range if possible, because number one, I feel like they taste better. And I also feel like if I'm gonna eat eggs, I want to buy from a company who is the most humane and kindest to animals. So if you look at the nutritional facts, oh, there's a whole bunch of protein, a whole bunch of omega-3s and lots of goodness in eggs. So that adds to the high protein count. So yeah, I'm also a big fan of brown versus white eggs. Now, after you get those 4 eggs into your measuring cup, then I like to put the milk in there. My mom uses evaporated milk. I like to use Fairlife milk, and I love using skim milk just because it has less fat. I mean, there's enough fat definitely in the cheese, even though it's, part skim, but look how much protein. That's a whole bunch of protein. So I'm gonna use 3/4 of a cup of this Fairlife skim milk. And again, you can use whole milk, you can use 2% milk, you can use plant-based milk. I also use Ripple sometimes, which is a high protein plant-based milk. Whatever you have on hand and whatever meets your dietary needs. And then you wanna take your seasoning blend of choice, and again, season with your heart, girl, season with your heart. Alrighty, once you get everything in there, I like to use this 2-cup measuring cup because it's big enough to swirl and twirl my fork in there. Use a fork, or you're going to use a whisk and just make sure that everything is mixed up and incorporated. Sometimes that seasoning can float up to the tops or sides. You want it to get all up and down and through that liquid concoction. So I would say once you think you're done, just whisk it a little bit more. And then what I love about using a measuring cup is that it's easy to pour on top of the pie crust. Now, mind you, there's a lot inside this deep dish pie crust, so you have to go super slowly. Like if you think you're going slowly, go a hair slower. Because if you just go ahead and dump all this liquid over your pie crust and over the meat and cheese and the onions, you are going to have a mess on your kitchen countertop because it'll spill over the edges. So just don't be too gingerly with it and just be a little bit cautious and just go a little slower than normally. And halfway through, what I like to do is I like to take a fork or a spoon or a knife or whatever I have on hand near me, and I like to kind of puncture little holes in there so that the liquid can get down in the middle into the bottom of that pie crust. And then I go in with the second half that's still left in that measuring cup. See, did you see I went a little bit fast there? It almost spilled, but it didn't. And you want to pour the rest of that lovely concoction of egg and spices and milk over the rest of the quiche, making sure you don't spill over the edge, and also making sure that you are putting it into the pie crust completely evenly. You want all that eggy and milky goodness to get in between all the layers that you just put in. And then at the very end, as you see, it's not exactly even, and you don't want the egg, milk, liquid stuff to spill over into your oven, because that means you have to clean it up. And nobody wants to clean an oven, so just take that utensil and just make sure that there's no liquid about to spill over the sides. Okay, so now the oven's preheated. I like to put aluminum foil or a cookie sheet underneath my pie crust, just in case for some reason the ingredients get excited, they decide they want to try and hop over that edge of that pie crust and get into your oven. No ma'am, that's not happening on my watch. So 350 degrees, and you want to put it in there for around 50 minutes to an hour, and then check it like I'm about to do here. So I checked it, and by checking it, I mean I took it out and I was like, ooh, that's pretty, probably done, because it's nice and brown on top, but you have to go one step further. So here it is, so picturesque. It looks like it's done, and I put it in there for actually an hour. And this is the first time I'm cooking this quiche in my new oven. So I put it in there for an hour and it looked great. Like, look at that. That is just gorgeousness, and you're thinking it's gonna be fine, but you know what? Just start off with 50 minutes to an hour the first time you make it. But then what you do is you take a knife and you cut in. And when I cut in, I was like, oh no, it's not solid. So I actually had to put it back in the oven. And then when I put it in for 10 or 15 more minutes, do you see how all of that egg concoction totally is not liquid anymore and it's firm? And then once you take it out, you cut it into 4 different slices. You can do it into 8 if you want to, but a serving size is 1/4 of a pie. And who eats 1 small piece of quiche? Not me. I usually eat 2 small pieces or 1, pretty hearty piece like you see here. So here we are lifting up our masterpiece. Look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? Okay, so the crust just came off. Why? Because crusts are crumbly. So is this the aesthetic, gorgeous shot I wanted? No, it is not. It is not, but you know what? I promise you it's delicious, and it all goes down the same chute, and it all gets to your stomach, right? But let's go ahead and just show the prettiness that is the innards of this quiche. Look at that. Tons of meat, tons of cheese. Everything is balanced. You've got the onions, you've got all the seasonings, you've got the delicious crust, and you've got the delicious topping. Isn't that gorgeous? This is the easiest dish ever. Now, as far as storing, just really quickly, I usually put aluminum foil on top of it, and you can store it in the fridge for multiple days. You can also freeze it if you want to, or you can use one of these pie holders that I have. It takes up a lot of room in the refrigerator, so I didn't use it this time, but these are also great as well. So it keeps forever. Let's try this quiche. Now, I love this quiche because it's yummy, it's delicious, and it has 42 grams of protein, which is amazing. But good for you food that builds muscles, it decreases your fat, and it, makes you happy and healthy. It does not have to be disgusting. So let's make an oath to one another, me and you, right now, to make delicious food that is also good for our bodies. So let's taste this quiche, okay? All right. Now, this quiche also keeps really well in the refrigerator, and it also freezes really well. My mom has actually made 2 at a time, and she's frozen one and then heated it up later, and that works really well. So this is called the easy life. Okay. Super hot. So good. Let me tell you. This is an easy recipe. Again, you just swirl some stuff in a bowl and put it in a pie crust. You don't even need really utensils. You can use your hands, except for the egg part. Definitely use a fork or a whisk for that. It's cheesy. It's not too eggy. Like a lot of quiches are like heavy on the eggs, and you're like, oh, that was a whole bunch of eggs. No, this is like perfectly balanced with eggs and with sausage and cheese and with spices. But let me tell you, you don't have to sacrifice carbs to gain muscle and lose fat. To have a svelte, toned body, you need carbs. For energy, you need carbs. Just to be happy and be able to do the things in life, to move around, to, enjoy. Also for your taste buds to enjoy, carbs are not the devil. I thought carbs were the devil forever, and that was so wrong. We need carbs to sustain life. We need carbs for energy. We need carbs to lift things and to move things so we look good and we feel good. So yay, try this quiche. I promise you, you're gonna love it. My name is Simply Susan. I make videos every Sunday at noon, so subscribe and like, and I'll see you in 7 days. Have a beautiful week, and I love you. Bye.